Oh, hey there. I was just reading this really cool book that has a whole bunch of short, kind of dark stories, if that is your thing. And since it is spooky season, I figured let's kind of keep the vibes going through the month of October. So today I'm going to read maybe 3 pages out of this book. So there's different stories. So I'll take 3 of those stories, read the first line, then the first paragraph, then the rest of the page, and share with you based off of those 3 elements. Would I purchase this book or would I pass on this book? And you might be thinking, well, if you have the book, you obviously purchased it. Not always. This one was given to me. I get ones from the library right on the next street from me. It's not a library like library. It's a, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. I don't even know what they're called, but it's kind of like a mailbox. It's oversized. It says library on it. It has these cute, cute little doors you can open, and people leave books and take books. So, yes, sometimes I don't purchase books. I just get them from yard sales, thrift stores, library. They get given to me. So, I'm going to read right now. Let's get right into it. First line from the book, again, Menagerie, of the weird. Okay. So, line 1. The woman walked into the dying town at sunset, a sword strapped to her back and a shotgun in her hand. Yes. Yes, instantly yes. I'm already like I'm into this. First paragraph, she had long, curly, dark hair pulled back into a messy ponytail. She wore black leather pants, a black leather jacket zipped up halfway, and a black shirt under the jacket. I will say, loses some points for the leather. I just feel that one fabric is so overdone. I always give extra points to any author who does not ever mention leather in their book at all. Which, no offense, if you have lots and lots, the whole point is I've read lots and lots and lots of people's books where it's a leather briefcase, a leather couch, leather car seats, leather, leather, leather. And I'm just like, again, if you've used the word leather, I don't care if you use it in every single page in your book. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your creative outlet. You do whatever you want with it. It's just one of those personal pet peeves that probably nobody else cares about except for me. So, okay, so she's got her black shirt under the jacket. Her hands were sheathed in black leather gloves. She was dressed for battle. Her heavy boots thudded hollowly on the hot asphalt as she walked into the town. As she walked, her head swung back and forth, taking in empty, boarded up stores, the quiet streets. She saw no sign of human habitation. As she came close to a dark alleyway between buildings, a young boy ran out into the street. His shirt was torn and he was yelling nonsense words at the top of his lungs as he ran in a strange zigzag pattern. Hearing the woman coming up behind him, he turned and ran at her, his teeth bared as he growled and spit. The woman paused and raised her shotgun. Yes, 100% I would purchase this on just this basis alone. Again, when I'm making this judgment, it is as if I don't know the cover, I don't know the author, I don't know the blurb. Literally, I'm just basing it off of that first glimpse into what we're going to be reading, that first page. So yes, that one does it for me. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about that first page? Was there anything that stood out to you as interesting, or maybe that maybe turned you away? Um, or any other thoughts you have? Again, we always just want to keep it respectful, but I'd love to hear what you personally thought. So, again, this is a collection of short stories, so I'm just going to pick 2 more and read again the first line, first paragraph, first page. If you can hear my stomach growling, it is because I skipped breakfast because I was extremely busy, and now I'm waiting for my smoothie to get cold enough for me to want to drink it because I am picky about my smoothie. I need it to be like practically ice cream, practically frozen. So, and I absolutely cannot wait to have it after this video. And in case you're curious, what the smoothie is made of. It is one banana, Greek yogurt, cocoa almonds, and peanut butter, and I'll use a little bit of almond milk or water to give it a little more liquid to make it like so it mixes up. And then for me personally, I need to either put it in the fridge or even the freezer for at least 15 minutes. Okay, so the next story is called Lie to Me. And and then the subtitle says, I would never lie to you. First line. Let me hydrate. If you haven't hydrated today, now is a good time. This is your sign. It is one of my goals to actually stay hydrated because I sometimes am like a little cactus, and if I don't think about hydration, I just won't be hydrated. So it says she turned away from the mirror where she had been liberally applying bright red lipstick to her thin lips to stare at him. So, based on the first line alone, no. Um, Although I'm a little curious who is him, why is she going to be staring at him? But I'm not, it doesn't do enough for me personally to really push me to be like, oh yeah, I need to know more about this book. First paragraph. Are you serious? She asked him, her green eyes wide with surprise. The man nodded at her, standing straight and stiff in the middle of the room, his arms crossed over his chest. His face was impassive as he stared at her. I would never lie to you. The woman turned back to the mirror to study her reflection and closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, she continued applying the lipstick. With a sigh, she finished and tossed it onto the table. The she, I'm guessing that's a typo, maybe it was supposed to say then. Then she turned and stared at the man as he waited patiently for her to speak. So what exactly am I supposed to do about this? If what you say is true, then there's nothing I can do. The man uncrossed his arms and held his hands out towards her. Staring at his big calloused hands, she suppressed a shudder. Um, for me personally, I'm not quite on board with it, although I do have a check mark next to the story. I don't know if you can see it, which means out of this collection, this was a story I did end up enjoying, which is a perfect example of what I said in one of my earlier videos, is that just because I wouldn't purchase a book based off even reading the first whole page, I'm still like, no, probably would just pass. It doesn't mean it's not a book that I ultimately ended up enjoying or would enjoy if I got past the first page. Because that particular story, I know for sure, I did end up liking the story. It was just the first page wasn't, it was intriguing in some ways, but just not quite for me enough to pull me over the bridge. So, again, that's a perfect example of why it's like, hey, maybe you read the first page and it really doesn't do much for you, and maybe you never end up reading that book, and maybe that book would have been one of your favorite books if you had given it more than the first page. But for the sake of this series, we are sticking to only first page. All right. Let me pick one more story. Okay, this one is called Obsession. First line. The girl named Louise sat in her room. So that's first line would not, again, it's just like a fact that's not interesting to me. So no, the first line wouldn't make me compelled to read more. Not that I wouldn't read more. I would never just say, oh, the first line didn't compel me, so I'm just not going to read any more of the book. But the first line wouldn't be enough for me to purchase. Uh, the girl named Louise sat in her room. Louise thought about him. He was all she thought about. He was her world. He was her everything. There was nothing else that mattered to her. When she woke up in the morning, she was thinking about him. What was he doing? Who was he with? She went through her day thinking about him, always thinking about him. She went to bed and thought about him. He was in her dreams, all her dreams. So that's the first paragraph. Based off of that, would I purchase this? No. Right now, just to me anyway, it can be somewhat intriguing because this could be like a stalker type situation, or like, well, obviously the name of the story is Obsession. But, um, Right now, it just kind of sounds like maybe like a teenage girl or teenage person like thinking about some crush constantly. So it's not, for me, it's not quite there yet. So, rest of the page says Michael Masterson. She knew they were soulmates. She felt like she knew everything about him. They had so much in common. He was born in 1969. She was born in 1979. Both of them had been sales clerks in a dress shop, and his father had been a machinist. His parents divorced in 72, and he lived with his mother. Lois's mother was a drunk who liked to beat her. Her father liked to beat Lois, and Lois's mother. Her father also liked to take drugs, deal drugs, and wear women's dresses. They divorced when Louise's mother caught him having sex with the 18-year-old boy down the street who cut their lawn. I mean, again, there is some level of interest, like there is some level of intrigue and interest. But do I really feel compelled right now? Like, oh, I really need to know, at least this first chapter. I just don't. But again, this does have a check mark next to it, which means this is a story I did end up enjoying once I gave it more than the first page. So, a lot of times, we're busy. We have 10 million different choices of what to read. It's very easy to just read a couple of lines or one page and then write the book off. And again, we might be missing out on books we would really love if we don't give them a little bit more of a chance. But if you happen to be an author, this is also a good opportunity to see, how quickly, a reader can just put a book down because there's so many options and we have so many other things going on that, I know it's a lot of pressure because I feel the same way about my own book, which actually maybe I will, maybe my next video I'll read to you from my own book. But it's just a good example of why it is important, at least by the end of the first page, to have something of interest going on, some question that's been raised, some action that's making us think, oh my God, what's that about? Something in that first page, because a lot of people these days are only reading like a page or maybe two before they decide, yeah or no. So something in that first page I think is really important to compel us to say, okay, I'm going to give this at least the first chapter. And then, oh, if I love the first chapter, I'm in, So that's that. Let me know what you thought about the examples I read. What to you makes a good first line or paragraph or page? Obviously, like conflict, questions being raised, these are generally considered good things. But what specifically? Like if you can think of a first line or a book that has just a really great, intriguing first page, share it with us so we can check it out. All right, that being said, I am going to end this video here. I hope to see you in the next one, and I actually do think this would be a perfect time for me to do a little shameless self-promo and go ahead and make my next video about my own book, and maybe I'll read a little bit more than the first page. Maybe I'll actually do the first chapter. I am working with an editor starting tomorrow, but I'm always curious for feedback from people in my community. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I hope to see you on the next one. And until then, keep drinking the coffee or whatever you like to drink. Keep creating things. And of course, make time for yourself.